So in this lecture, we will introduce you to the course, kind of let you know what our plans are, and we will review the syllabus to go over all the details of what this course is about and how to be successful in this course. First of all, I want you to know how glad I am that you're here. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy this subject very much. And my goal is really to make this one of the best courses you've ever taken, whether it be online or face-to-face. I put a lot of effort into teaching. I hope that'll show. And I hope that you'll find that this class is very informative, enjoyable, and really worthwhile for you. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I do want to make sure people know kind of what they're getting into. This course will not be easy, and it is not for everyone. I think sometimes online courses have a reputation for perhaps being either of those, just sort of easy or easy A to those sort of things. I don't think you'll find that to be the case in this course. Online courses, in my view, actually require exceptional commitment and dedication, a lot of good time management, and a lot of self-direction and self-motivation. If you ever find yourself taking an online class because you struggle to get to face-to-face classes, boy, I think that's a big mistake. If you can't get to a face-to-face class, you certainly probably don't have the dedication to do an online class. Online classes do bring a lot of flexibility of how you spend your time and how you sort of structure, how you approach the course, but it requires quite a bit of self-motivation. You should probably expect to devote 6 to 9 hours per week to this course. That includes everything, the readings, the watching the videos, taking the quiz and exams, everything. I would assume 6 to 9 hours per week. And my advice to you would be to carve that time out of your schedule. Literally put that on your planner and protect that and be dedicated about using that time for this class. So the first thing you should do if you haven't done it already is download the syllabus. I recommend print it out or have it available in another screen or on another device and just review it as we go through this lecture, because I'll kind of be walking through this syllabus step by step, and you really want to know everything about the syllabus. In addition to reviewing it while I have this video, you should definitely read the entire syllabus. It is sort of our contract and our understanding of what's going to happen in the class. You need to know everything that's in it because you're responsible for the parts of it that are about your responsibilities. All right, so what is this course about? Well, as you can read in the description, the course explores psychological issues related to sport and human performance. That includes things like performance enhancement. How can we perform better using psychological strategies or skills? Dealing with stress and arousal, understanding something about motivation and commitment, leadership and leadership development, and also some things like coping with injury and retirement, as well as mental health issues related to sport involvement and athletes. Now, the focus in this class is on sport, and you'll hear me use the term sports psychology a lot, that's my shorthand for what the course is about, but it really is a bit broader than that. It focuses on all areas of human performance, and that can include things like careers or the workplace, creative endeavors, performance in music or arts, and other kinds of performance settings, things like medical performance. Boy, surgeons need to be able to perform pretty well. Military performance. We'll touch on those issues. We'll see examples of those issues go throughout the class. And if those are contexts in which you expect to spend some time in your life, you hopefully will find content in this class that will apply there as well. So a little bit about me. I've been a professor at OSU since 2000, so I've been doing this for a while. I have a master's degree in exercise and sports psychology from the University of Arizona. I sometimes tell people jokingly that I was a sports psychologist in my former life, because sports psychology is not a big focus of my research career right now. I'm more of a health psychologist. And I do very little as far as practice or consulting. I do some, but it is still an area of great interest of mine, and it's going to be a lot of fun teaching this course to kind of scratch that itch a little bit. But I did want you to know I do have some background and training in the area. I was a former student athlete myself. I was a competitive golfer at the NAIA level at a small college in Kansas. And I still golf competitively whenever I can. I really enjoy golf quite a bit. It's my own personal favorite sport. And I'm also a former consultant to Division I athletic departments, both at University of Arizona and University of Washington, where I worked with hundreds of coaches and student athletes trying to improve the performance of individuals and teams, and really valued that part of my life. I did that for about 7 years. I was a consultant to Division I athletic departments. I don't do a lot of that now. I consult once in a while with university athletics here and some of the teams and coaches. But again, most of my focus is on being a faculty member and a health psychologist right now. There are a couple required textbooks for the course. You should go ahead and get these as soon as possible if you don't have them already. They're both available at the bookstore or on other places online. They're both fairly recent books. I think they're both terrific and you're going to enjoy reading them. They're absolutely essential to the class because some information on quizzes and exams will be in the textbook and not described in lectures or anywhere else. You'll need to know what's in the textbooks to do well in the class. As far as the other kind of content for the class, there's really three main things we'll have going on. There'll be a lot of different things we'll do in class. There'll be a number of readings, both from the textbook as well as other readings that I will post to the Brightspace environment. You'll want to check the content at the start of every new week of the course to see what new readings are posted there. They're not necessarily listed in the syllabus because they may change from time to time, but if I post it in that week's content, you need to be responsible for having read it. There will be a number of video lectures, much like this one. There will be probably a couple every week, I would guess. These are typically going to be 10 to 15 minutes in length, meant to sort of be able to digest in small bites, but you really need to be able to watch those because there will be unique information lectures you can't get anywhere else. And we'll use a number of other video sources, including things like TED Talks. I'll be interviewing a lot of people who are involved in the field of sports psychology, and we call those interviews with experts. And those will be posted. I think you'll find those really interesting, especially if you're thinking at all about potentially a career or part of a career being in sports psychology. You'll want to hear from these people who've actually done that. Everything that's in the content for the courses is eligible for quizzes and exams. There's really nothing you can skip. There's no fluff. You'll want to check those things out. Now, as you know, this is an online course and it's delivered entirely in the Brightspace environment. This is what our kind of class web page or home page looks like. There will be a separate video that will show you how to navigate this website. So make sure you check that video out. Even if you're pretty familiar with Brightspace, you should go there and sort of know what all the unique parts are of this course that might not be part of other courses that have used Brightspace. And we'll sort of clue you into where to find some of the important stuff and how to best navigate the course to be successful. You probably want to know a little bit about grading. We will, of course, have grading in this class. There's a number of things go into grading. There will be a quiz every week. That quiz will open up on Friday at 12:01 a.m. and close at midnight on Friday, except on exam weeks when it will be Thursday. And I will remind you about that when the exams come around because our exams are always on Friday. The quizzes are 10 points each, so there'll be 10 questions with 1 point for each question you get right. And there'll be 16 weeks in the semester, but I'm only going to count 13 quizzes. I do that so that if life happens and you just can't do a quiz for a certain week, it's okay. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to get permission. You can just drop 3 of the quizzes, get zeros on them if you must, and you'll be just fine. You haven't lost any points. Now, the way the quizzes are set up in Brightspace is that you can take the quizzes as many times as you like to get the score you want. Hopefully, that is 10 out of 10. Now, each time that you take the quiz, there will be it'll tell you the score you got. So it'll tell you how many you got correct, but it won't tell you which ones you got right or wrong. So you're going to have to know some things to do well in the quiz, and you're going to have to learn some things if you don't get 10 out of 10, and that's kind of on purpose. So you'll need to know which questions you got right and know which questions you got wrong to be able to score 10 out of 10. An important thing to note also with the weekly quizzes is that some questions on each week's quiz will be on the exam word for word. So the quizzes are not only a good learning tool and a chance to score some pretty easy points, but they're a preview of the exams. And so you'll want to check those out for sure. We will have 5 exams, each worth 90 points. There will be 40 multiple choice questions worth 2 points each and a 10-point short answer question. We will take 5 exams, but I will only count 4 of them. So I'll count your 4 best exam scores. That does 2 things for you. One is it gives you a chance to bomb one or not do quite as well on one and just forget that. If life happens and you can't take an exam, it's okay to take a 0 on it. It hasn't cost you anything. And if you do really well in the first 4 exams, it might mean that you can skip the final exam or exam 5 altogether, and that's a nice thing as well. So it gives you a lot of cushion in there to make sure you can do well. The exams will be available on the date specified on the syllabus. It's always on a Friday, and it's just like the quizzes. They'll be open 24 hours from 12:01 a.m. Friday till 12 p.m. Friday. I think I misspoke on the quizzes. The quizzes actually are open all week long, but they close just before an exam opens or before that week's content ends. So the quizzes are open for a full week. The exams are only open for the one day that they're available. You'll want to make sure that you have a computer or a device that can run the Respondus Lockdown browser to do the exam. You'll want to make sure you have at least 45 minutes of uninterrupted time. The exams are time limited, so you will not have time to look up every answer. They're only limited to 40 minutes. So you've got to know the answer to a lot of questions to be able to do well. You will not have time to look up every possible answer. That's one of the ways we have exam security for the course. But you'll want to make sure you have uninterrupted time, reliable internet access to get that exam done within the time allotted. Once you start the exam, you can't pause, stop, or leave. So make sure you've got yourself in kind of a quiet place with the battery fully charged or plugged in on your device and reliable internet so you can take that exam. There will also be 4 brief assignments for 25 points each. These will be described in detail when they come up with specific deadlines as the course goes along. And there's also opportunities to participate in research through the online SONA system, and there's information on the website about that. I'd like you to participate in 4 different studies or earn 4 credits. That typically is 4 studies if they're 1 credit each, but some studies are 2 credits or 1.5 or a half, so it may not be 4 different studies. But I'd like you to earn at least 4 participation credits. That would be about 4 hours of participation in research. And if you do those, you'll earn 40 points. I would think of those really as kind of the bonus points of the class because they're super easy points. You just have to go do a little bit of time to earn them. And many studies, by the way, are online, so those can be done fully online as well. That gives us 630 total points. We will use a traditional grading scheme of 90% or greater gets an A. You can see the exact number breakdowns on the syllabus of where those cutoffs are, and I am really strict about those. So if you end up 1 point away from a higher grade, I'm going to give you the grade you earned, a lower grade. So just keep that in mind as the end of the semester approaches. And I do that because I think the grading plan has a lot of opportunities built in for you to earn lots of free and easy points, to earn some extra credit. And so if you ended up a point short, that's really the grade that you earned. Also important to note that there will be no other opportunities for extra credit in the course, so don't get halfway through the course thinking you're going to rely on those. There just won't be any, and so don't ask when the end of the semester comes either. As far as a couple other issues just to touch on, I certainly expect appropriate behavior at all times from students in the class as well as from myself. We don't want to see anybody trolling me or anybody else in the class. Anything that I think could be interpreted as disrespectful, discriminatory, any kind of threatening behavior is completely unwelcome to me and in the class and won't be tolerated. If stuff like that gets posted or anything, it'll be removed and we'll report things to the Student Conduct Office to proceed from there. If you happen to need some accommodations for a disability, I am more than happy to help. Please contact me as early as possible so that we can make arrangements for the right accommodations for you. It's important to note that all the videos in the class will have accurate closed captioning for those of you who might benefit from that. And if there's any other things in the class that are necessary to help you be successful, please don't hesitate to let me know. It certainly is my goal to make sure everybody can participate and achieve appropriately in the class. And lastly, I'll mention that academic dishonesty will be taken really seriously. I'm not going to overlook that, so really be careful about things like plagiarism or anything that could be interpreted as cheating because I will take that seriously and act upon that if I suspect anything. Lastly, I want to share with you just a few keys to success, some tips I think if you do these will ensure that you're successful as you'd like to be in the course. I encourage you to really engage in the course regularly. Multiple days per week, most days of the week is probably necessary. You know, maybe not for hours every time, but just to keep checking in, doing little things. Each week on the website for the content, you'll see a checklist that will help you know if you've sort of got things left to do or that are left undone, and just make sure you're regularly engaging in the class. If you're coming to this class like once a week and trying to get everything done in one binge bulk effort, I think that would be the wrong way to do it, and I definitely don't recommend that. You'll notice a little asterisk there in the fine print down at the bottom, and I think it's fair to let you know that online courses are a little bit different. One of the things that makes them different is that I know pretty much everything about what you do in this course. I know how often you visit, how long you stay, what you look at. If you visit a video, I know whether you stayed as long as the video lasts. You want to make sure that that information that I can see tells a good story about you. I can't tell you how every semester I'll have a student come to me and tell me they're not getting the grades they want in the class, and I can go in and look, and I can see that, gosh, you just haven't visited anything the last few weeks. I mean, you're obviously not putting in even the minimal effort to even click on things and check things out. So it's not unlike, I guess, in a face-to-face class that I know if you're never showing up for lectures. It's really the same, maybe even worse in an online class, because I can even tell what you're clicking on, how long you're staying within the class. I don't know what you're clicking on outside of it, but within the class, I pretty much know exactly what you're doing and how long you're doing it, and how long you stay, and it's fair for you to sort of know that. I think it's important, as I mentioned earlier, to set aside some dedicated time in your calendar for this class and protect it. Use it. Use it as dedicated time and be dedicated with it in terms of working on this class on a regular weekly basis. Treat it as you would other classes that might be on your schedule for days and times you have lectures or study groups or whatever, and I think you'll be successful. Goes without saying, you should read all the readings that are assigned. Don't skip any of them. I've picked them all carefully because I think they're full of information you'll find useful, and they're excellent resources. Make sure you watch all the videos. I put a lot of time into creating these. I hope some people will watch them, and I think you'll find them to be of value. Communicate with me often, whether it be through the Brightspace environment or through email. I also offer office hours through Skype or FaceTime if you want to have virtual office hours. Of course, if you're on campus, you're more than welcome to stop by for real-life office hours as well. One of the funnest things for me to do, by the way, is to run into students on campus or off campus who come up to me and say, hey, I'm in your class. And I might know your name, but I have never obviously met you face-to-face. And that's really fun for me. So if you do see me out in Stillwater or walking across campus, just come up and say hello. I would like to know you and like to know how you're enjoying the class. Last thing I'd tell you to sign up for the remind.com text messages. There's a link on our website as well as lots of instructions on the web as well. You'll want to sign up for those because those will provide you with regular reminders of deadlines, when new things have posted. Those are really important to have you as connected as possible to the class. So I think that's it. Best of luck to you for this semester and for this course. And I'm ready to go. Let's get started.